Hello, and welcome to our fourth D&D 3.5 Prestige Class review. In this series, I'm going to be going over the various aspects of a particular D&D 3.5 Prestige class, and evaluating the class on its concept and execution. I'll also give my thoughts on its individual abilities, as well as some ideas for how I would improve the Prestige class. I will assume that you'll have fairly in-depth knowledge of the D&D 3.5 rules for the purposes of this review, and as with any review, in the end this will all boil down to my personal opinion. Today we're going to be looking at the Fatespinner, a prestige class from Complete Arcane Sourcebook. The Fatespinner is a master of manipulating luck and can tilt probability in his favor. This is a prestige class meant for arcane spellcasters. This class has a d4 hit die, as most arcane spell casting classes do. To enter this prestige class, you're going to need at least 10 ranks in Knowledge Arcana, and the ability to cast 4th level arcane spells. These two requirements mean that you will have to be at least 7th level by the time you enter this prestige class. You'll also need 5 ranks in Profession Gambler, which will detract from some of your other skills, but if you are a wizard you should have at least a few skill points to spare. Lastly, you need to be able to cast at least one divination spell of 1st level or higher, which isn't hard to accomplish at all. So pretty much any wizard or sorcerer of 7th level or higher should be able to enter this prestige class with relatively small investment. The Profession Gambler ranks will be your biggest diversion from normal advancement. Fatespinners get 2 plus intelligence modifier skill ranks per level. Their skill list is very similar to the wizard, with the notable addition of Sleight of Hand. Fortunately, you get to advance your spellcasting at almost every level of this prestige class, which is a major make or break for spellcasting prestige classes. You really don't want to miss out on any advancements in your spells per day or spells known, and it's rare for a prestige class to supply you with features that actually balance out losing a level of spellcasting. The first level of this prestige class gives you a pool of spin points, as the prestige class calls them. This pool of points has a number of spin points equal to your class level, so you have between 1 and 5 points. You can spend this pool of points when you cast a spell to increase its save DC by the number of points spent. So if you were a 3rd level Fatespinner casting Fireball with a save DC of 16, you could spend up to 3 points to increase the save DC to between 17 and 19. This ability seems narrow, but the ability to give plus 5 potentially to the DC of a crucial save or die spell you are casting against a campaign villain or another important enemy is actually quite powerful. At level 2, the Fatespinner can, once per day, force any creature he sees to re-roll a roll it just made. The second result of the roll is always taken, whether it's better or worse. This is a common for 3.5 re-roll mechanics. The only requirement here is that you have line of sight to the creature you want to affect. This ability is great for saving your party fighter from a critical hit, or your party rogue from rolling a natural 1 on the saving throw against a death spell. At level 3, you gain the ability to use your spin points for skill checks, attack rolls, or saving throws. You have to spend the points before making the roll, but this gives the Spin Fate feature some additional utility and flexibility. At level 4, you gain the ability to automatically stabilize while dying, once per day. This ability could be nice, but for 2 reasons. Firstly, by the time you are getting to this ability, you are at least 11th level, and the line between dying and dead is a lot narrower than it is at lower levels. Secondly, if you are part of a party, it is likely that you will be healed before you need to roll to see if you stabilize. And another third caveat to this ability is that, as the party spellcaster, if your party's doing its job or you're doing your job, you shouldn't ever need to be stabilizing while dying. And if you are injured and it takes that long for a healer to get to you that you need to have self-stabilized, your party is likely losing the fight anyway, and the enemies will probably finish you off. So this isn't a great ability, but fortunately you can gain 2 at level 4. You also gain the ability to resist fate. This is like your ability at level 2, except you can use it to affect yourself. So you essentially can force another creature to reroll once a day, as well as yourself to reroll once a day. This just improves an already good ability, so this is another satisfying level, despite the disappointment of the stabilizing ability. So finally, at 5th level, you gain the Seal Fate ability, which allows you to, once a day, give a creature within 30 feet of you either a plus 10 or minus 10 on a single saving throw. Now, this is done as a free action, but it's unclear whether or not this can be done in reaction to a creature making a saving throw, as it mentions that the effect doesn't happen if the creature doesn't make a save before 1 round is up. The implied use here is that you can use this before you cast a spell on a creature, but then its defensive utility is questionable. For the sake of argument, we'll assume it can be used as an actual immediate action, as this book was written before immediate and swift actions were in the game. If so, it's a more versatile but less powerful version of the spell Moment of Prescience. This Seal Fate ability is also limited to monsters less than or equal to your hit dice. Now, what we have to decide here is whether or not using this ability once per day is worth giving up an entire level of spell casting. I would have to say no, the biggest reason being the hit die limit. Often the kind of monsters you're going to want to be using this on will have more hit dice than you. Even if not, by the time you've hit 5 levels in this prestige class, you'll be at least level 12, with access to 6th level spells. If you're a wizard, this won't immediately hurt you, but it will still put you a level behind. If you're a sorcerer, it will put you 2 levels behind. This, in my opinion, just isn't worth it for a lesser equivalent of an 8th level spell. I would recommend taking 4 levels in this prestige class and skipping the 5th. There's not much reason why this class couldn't have had all 5 levels give spellcasting advancement, but this applies to many prestige classes geared towards spellcasters. This one in particular, though, doesn't provide much incentive to take its dead casting level, so to speak. So overall, this is a good prestige class for any character interested in playing with the forces of fate. As a wizard, you'll lose one of your bonus feats taking this prestige class, which can be painful, but if you don't have a particularly feat-intensive build in mind, you will likely gain more out of this than one of the luck feats from books such as Complete Scoundrel could have given you. Overall, I give this prestige class 4 stars for concept and 4 stars for execution. The lack of spellcasting advancement at 5th level and the potential for more creative abilities when it comes to affecting fate are the only things holding it back. I think there are far worse things you could do with 4 levels in Dungeons & Dragons 3.5. So that's about it for this prestige class review. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, etc. And thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.